Shabbat Shalom, dear community family. This week we begin the fifth book of the Torah, the book of Deuteronomy, also having experienced Tisha B'Av, the holiday that is really a commemoration of the saddest day of Jewish life, of the Jewish year. Every one of us, like mourners, sit on the ground. Every one of us fasts. We say special prayers. We don't rejoice. We remember the difficulties of Jewish history and the Jewish journey of our life experience. Practically, we commemorate the destruction of the temple, at which time both temples, the first and second temple, both temples destroyed and spelled the beginning of the exile of the Jewish people that unfortunately we are still living through today. At the same time, we live with hope, promise, outlook for the best, and knowledge that all of that is just temporary. It's to give us an opportunity to elevate the world, to prepare the world, to repair the world, to reconstruct, to recalibrate that which has gone wrong for so many years, for people to start feeling positive. Tolerance is not enough. It's a recognition of each person having rights in their own life, each person being a creature of Almighty God that has its own mission and purpose to fulfill, and is critical for the creation of the world, for if God would not need them, they would not have been created. Moses starts this book by explaining the entire Torah. This fifth book is called a composition that is in some way inclusive of every part of the Torah. That's what it's called. Mishnah Torah is called a repetition and a complete recall of every aspect of every mitzvah of the Torah. And he begins by telling it to us in 70 languages. Why 70 languages? Everybody at that time spoke Hebrew. We know it, but God said to Moses, these Jewish people are getting ready for a trip through history. They will not only live in Israel, they will be everywhere in the world. And sometimes they will not have access to the original holy tongue. And therefore, make sure that you explain it to them in a language that's always accessible, always being able to come back and know what it says. And that's why it's so important today. So much of the Torah is translated into every language. If you don't know the Hebrew today, it's in English, in Spanish, in Russian, in German, in Japanese. Every single language, the Torah tells us how to live, so that nobody can say, I didn't understand. Moses makes sure of that. He gives us an overview of our past mistakes and tells us don't make them happen again. To make a mistake is human, only the first time. The second time, it's foolish. Second time, a person's mistake is no longer a mistake, because you know the consequence for something that does not go the way that Almighty God wants it to go. When you remove God from the equation, you live a very limited life that's based on your own physical, basic animal needs. As I've told you many times, the two most fundamental elements that are the source of the downtrend, of the downward spiral of society is number one, instant gratification. There's no boss. When it feels good, just do it. Nobody tells you not to. There's no controls and no God. And the other is entitlement. You don't feel that everything that comes to you is from Hashem. Moses tells us right now, don't make the mistakes you've done before. You have a big life ahead of you. You have a big mission ahead of you. And you will fulfill it at the end. So make sure that the passage, in order to fulfill it, is as comfortable, as smooth, and successful as possible. God bless you. Have a great Shabbos. And let's live according to the Mosaic dictates that make life the best it can ever be. Shabbat Shalom.